In all of the Red Oak ISD school libraries, you will find a new Makerspace for the 2015-16 school year. What exactly is a Makerspace? The Maker movement is a technological and creative revolution underway around the world. Laura Fleming, a leader in the library Makerspace movement, defines the Makerspace as a metaphor for a learning environment that encourages tinkering, play, and open-ended exploration for all. Makerspaces are places where young people of all ages have an opportunity to explore their own interests. Learn to use tools and materials, both physical and virtual, and develop creative products. Why do we have makerspaces in our schools? Allison Arif, editor and content strategist for the San Francisco Planning and Urban Research Association, writes that if we want to raise kids as independent thinkers and change makers, one of the best things we can do is give them the tools to figure stuff out for themselves. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory is dedicated to the robotic exploration of space. In his book, Play, How It Shapes the Brain, Opens the Imagination, and Invigorates the Soul, Dr. Stuart Brown tells the story about how the Jet Propulsion Laboratory realized that although it was hiring the best and the brightest college graduates, they were the wrong kind of people. Something had changed in the kind of people who came to work at JPL. The JPL managers went back to look at their own retiring engineers and found that in their youth, their older problem-solving employees had taken apart clocks to see how they worked, or made soapbox derby racers, or built hi-fi stereos, or fixed appliances. The young engineering school graduates who had also done these things, who had played with their hands, were adept at the kinds of problem-solving that management sought. Those who hadn't generally were not. From that point on, JPL made questions about applicants' youthful projects and play a standard part of job interviews. Through research, the JPL managers discovered that there is a kind of magic in play. Another reason that we have makerspaces in our schools is that making embodies 21st century skills. First of all, makers are innovative and resourceful, as well as intrinsically motivated. Makers take risks and learn from failures to achieve success. They exhibit character traits such as creativity, curiosity, open-mindedness, persistence, social responsibility, and teamwork. Last of all, makers collaborate and give advice and guidance to their peers. Dr. Scott Niven, Superintendent of Schools for the Red Oak ISD, has this to say about makerspaces. Our district is committed to preparing students for their future. The workplace they will ultimately enter will look much different from ours. Creativity, innovation, and use of technology will be keys to their success, and our students' success is our success. I like the Makerspace initiative because it allows students to explore, problem solve, and learn in a creative, open environment. Dr. Brenda Flowers, Red Oak ISD Deputy Superintendent and Chief Academic Officer, has this to say about the role of makerspaces in our schools. In Texas, we have become experts in delivering information, but is that really what will be asked for from our future leaders? It is no longer possible to memorize all you need to know. There is simply too much information, all readily accessible. The difficulty then lies in becoming good consumers. In other words, discerning good quality information from inaccurate information. And so the call of the future is for a workforce that can problem solve, research, and invent. We are now beginning to be required as educators to balance teaching with learning in a way that we have never been before. The Makerspace initiative is one way we have chosen to align our very real need to impart specific knowledge and skills with the students' very real need to create and discover on their own. It's not about teaks, it's about knowledge and skills. What exactly happens in a makerspace? You will see different levels of making in each of our schools. You will see stage 1 making, in which there is copying or making something almost exactly as someone else has done, and this stage is foundational to the other stages of making. The instructions for making almost anything are readily available on the internet. One particular site, the Instructable site, is geared toward makers. How-to books will be used at this stage. And of course, YouTube is loaded with videos on how to make anything from your own PC to your very own sock puppet. Stage 2 making is to advance beyond stage 1 by gaining more knowledge and skills about a particular topic of interest. At stage 3, makers will embellish or add their own ideas to something that has already been done. One example of stage 3 embellishment is a simple invention kit called the Makey Makey, and it allows users to turn everyday objects into touchpads using the Makey Makey alligator clips and a USB cable connected to a computer. Stage 4 is to modify or take what others have done and modify or tweak it into something new. Kane's challenge is a perfect example of stage 4 modifying. He created his own arcade in his dad's automobile parts shop, and now it has become a national movement of challenges around the world every year where other students create their own arcade games out of cardboard. Stage 5 creating is when a student makes something new or unique, different than what has ever been made before. For example, kids take apart toys and use those parts to create new kinds of toys. Or they may do various challenges with a Lego board. Another example of stage 5 creating is designing online cartoons. At all stages of making, you will see problem solving happening. For example, regarding paper airplane construction, you may hear students saying, "Ours didn't go very far. Okay, let's redesign it a different way." You will see peer learning. You may hear them say, "Look how far their plane went. Let's ask them what they did." And last of all students who use the makerspaces have to exhibit grit. For example, when making weight-bearing cup towers, you may hear them say, "Oh no, it fell down. That's okay. We can rebuild it. Let's try it again." We have several posters here that help us understand the philosophy that failure helps us to learn. The first one says, "To live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong." Fail. first attempt in learning. And as Thomas Edison says, I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. You may be wondering what Makerspace activities will be available at your school in Red Oak ISD. All of our schools have chosen unique projects, and we will be sharing with each other how they work on our campus. Our spaces will be growing and changing as we understand what our learners are interested in. Your librarian will soon be explaining to you what is available at your library. And now we would like to show you a video of a young man named Cain, who is truly a maker.